Am I the idiot for selling out on my grandma's secret recipe? My grandma was a wonderful baker and had a secret cake recipe that she had created herself. It used some very uncommon spice combinations in the cake and frosting that produced a very unique but delicious cake. She would always make it for our big family gatherings, and it was always the most popular dessert. When she got sick a couple years ago, she decided to share the recipe so that it wouldn't die with her, and offered to give it to any of her kids or grandkids who wanted it. I was the only one who asked for it before she died. I don't know why no one else did, as there were several other bakers in the family. After she passed, I took over bringing the cake to family gatherings, and everyone was happy to still be able to enjoy it. I also started making cakes for friends and family, and then for others by word of mouth to make some extra cash on the side. My business was really starting to pick up around the time the pandemic hit, as people who'd had my cakes recommended me to their own friends and family. It soon became too much to keep up with in my tiny home kitchen, so I reached out to a friend who had a catering business with a professional kitchen. Since her business took a big hit with COVID, I made a deal to use her kitchen to make my cakes and help supplement the takeout business she started to get by. My cousin, Jane, recently found out that Grandma's recipe was one of my best sellers, and said that I had no right to sell out Grandma's recipe, especially after keeping it all to myself. She had asked for it late last year, but I said no. I told her that she had the chance to get it from Grandma before she died, and didn't seem to care enough to bother them. Since Jane had lost her job, she had decided to try selling cakes too, which I think is why she had asked for the recipe. Unfortunately for her, it's not going well. The reviews on her cakes have not been good, and no one has been recommending her. Jane said that the only reason my business was doing well was because of Grandma's cake, which she wanted to sell too, and my access to a professional kitchen. The kitchen does help with being able to work on multiple orders at once, but my business is doing well because I actually make good cakes. Jane is a good cook, but not a good baker. She doesn't follow measurements properly, and instead does everything to taste, which works for cooking, but not baking. Using too much or too little of any ingredients like flour, eggs or butter, or even their starting temperature will not give you the result you want. Jane is demanding that I either stop selling Grandma's cake, or teach her the recipe so she can too. I refused, and said she was a hypocrite for wanting to sell the cake herself after getting angry at me for doing so. When she gave me the recipe, Grandma said that her biggest regret was never opening a bakery like she had dreamed. My ultimate dream now too, I think she'd love so many people enjoying her cake. Am I the idiot? Now for a few comments before the update. Not the idiot. The people saying everyone sucks here and that you should share the recipe for the sake of family harmony are giving you bad advice. Guard that recipe with your life. You've created a viable, growing business, and who knows how far you can take it. You could become the next Hostess or Little Debbie. Anything is possible. All thanks to Grandma's secret family recipe, a great marketing gimmick. If you share the recipe with your cousin, she could sabotage your success by spreading the recipe around. Sometimes you gotta be ruthless. Comment 2, not the idiot. Grandma offered, no takers but you. Her last words have been spoken. Keep that secret and honor Grandma. If you get the chance, I hope you name it after her. Now for the update. Firstly, I opened my bakery. I found a great spot near my city's office park/main commuter route to the big city of a caterer/takeout deli that closed. We've been open since June, and business has been great with all the morning/evening traffic, and the lunch crowd from the business park. We sell cakes, pastries, breads, buns, etc. Typical bakery stuff. I also have a cook who comes in for a few hours in the morning to do eggs and stuff for breakfast sandwiches/wraps for the office folks. A few weeks after I opened, Jane stopped by. She apologized and confirmed what I and others had suspected. She only cared about the cake recipe because she was jealous of my success with my custom cake business. She'd always wanted to work in food, but hated the idea of losing her evenings and working in a high-pressure kitchen. So when I suddenly started doing so well, she thought she could do the same but didn't know how to start her own catering business. I apologized too for not wanting to share the recipe, but I was afraid that she would ruin my business by putting out bad cakes and no one would want to buy mine either. I then offered to have her come in 3 days a week to offer a soup/stew of the day during the lunch rush. I had the extra kitchen space for it, and soups/stews really do suit her style of cooking to taste. She loved the idea and they were an instant hit. She had complete freedom to create whatever 2 kinds of soup she wanted each day, just adding things on a whim, and they were always delicious. They got very popular quickly with the office folks, since there aren't many other takeout options nearby without driving about an extra 5 to 10 minutes out besides 2 fast food burger places. We soon expanded to her coming in every weekday, and then making a cold soup option on Fridays for the Saturday lunch, closed Sundays. It's been a great arrangement, since she keeps her evenings/weekends and gets that creative control. In the last couple weeks we've also started doing take-home heat and serving dishes too, like lasagna, chicken/steak taco or sub kits, etc. I'll do the pasta/bread, she does the other prep and sauces. So far they've been very popular. She's tried her hand at baking a time or two again, and has declared she just doesn't have the patience for it, and hasn't asked for the recipe again, nor has any other family. P.S. For those wondering, Grandma had a standing offer for over a year before she died when she wasn't yet sick enough to stop baking, for anyone to come over and she'd personally walk them through the recipe. She was very sad and disappointed that I was the only one who did so. The other bakers would always make excuses about time or say, later. Shortly before she died, she said that since I was the only one who bothered, the recipe was mine now. It's still my best-selling cake. Comment 1. Great update, and I'm glad you managed to find a great solution with Jane. Your grandma would be really proud of you both living your dream and fulfilling her dream for a bakery. Comment 2. I'm not saying I want the recipe. I too lack the patience for baking nowadays, which sucks BC. I used to love baking, but I'm curious AF where OP is and or what the cake tastes like that makes it so unique now. For the next story. Am I the idiot not paying any more towards our daughter's wedding after she cut pieces off her mother's wedding dress for her own? My wife made her wedding dress with her mother. It's very sentimental to her, and she was very proud of it. It was simple but freaking gorgeous. She has always said she would love for our kids to wear her dress at their wedding. We have 3 daughters, 34, 30, 25, and 1 son, 28. My wife made it known that the dress was not to be altered except to be taken in / let out so it could be kept and reworn. Our youngest daughter didn't wear it. Our DL wore it for their reception and our son held it up against him for some pre-wedding bridal pictures so he wasn't left out. He totally rocked it. Oldest daughter wore it for her wedding. We've offered some financial contributions to all our children towards either school, a wedding, or a house down payment. Olivia has asked for help paying for her wedding. The wedding is in the beginning of August. A few months ago Olivia asked my wife if she could use the dress for her wedding and my wife gave her the dress so Olivia could get it fitted with plenty of time. Tuesday Olivia asked me to go with her to pay some vendors. One of the stops was the tailor shop for a final fitting and pay the seamstress. Olivia was really nervous and I figured it was just usual pre-wedding jitters and excitement. The dress Olivia came out in was not at all her mother's dress. It was a completely different dress with parts of her mother's gown added to it. She took the straps, the sash, the train, and the embroidered top skirt and had it added to this new dress. I was befuddled for a bit, and then asked what the hell this was. Olivia's reasoning was that she was the last of our kids to get married and there wasn't anyone else to wear it, and she made sure to instruct them to keep the original dress to be returned to her. I told her that's not the same, she knows it, and the dress was never hers to do with what she wanted. I asked the seamstress for the rest of my wife's dress and had Olivia tell my wife in person what she had done. My wife was devastated. I have since cancelled the payments I made that day and told her I won't be paying another cent to her wedding. She and her fiancé can figure it out. Our youngest daughter thinks I've gone overboard knowing Olivia planned her wedding with our help in mind and without it, she can't finish paying for everything. Olivia's future in-laws also agree with that they can't afford to help and suggested I should pay, and then we just go low contact with Olivia. I've told them both that Olivia took something irreplaceable from her mother for her own vanity. I know we originally offered help with the wedding but I think Olivia's actions warrant cancelling that offer. Am I the idiot? Edit. Thank you everyone for the responses. My wife and I will look at more of them tomorrow and discuss the subject further. Just want to address a misconception: we have not gone low or no contact with Olivia. Her in-laws suggested it, and that is insane. My wife's initial reaction to finding out Tuesday was to not go to the wedding. That was said in anger and not a done deal. It'd probably depend a lot on Olivia's handling until then as well. Taking her dress she paid for would hurt our relationship with her just as much as not paying for anything else. Which is why we are discussing our options and skimming comments for things we have not thought of and are doable. Update. My wife and I are reading as many comments as we can. She appreciates the concern and support. For those saying the dress wouldn't be worn again anyway, she has this to say. It's not about whether or not it would be worn again. If none of my children asked to wear it, I still would keep the dress for me. My mother taught me everything I know about sewing. We spent months picking out fabrics and doing trial and error on practice dresses as we made mine. It was mine. It was my one prized possession that held incredible memories for me. I have thought of having it put in my casket with me because once I'm gone the person it mattered to is gone. However, I would have worn it again. Our 40th anniversary is in a couple years and I was very much looking forward to recreating our photos. It may seem like I'm choosing my dress over my daughter, I'm not. It is her deceit, indifference, and her blatant lack of remorse that I am hurt most by and having a hard time with. It is the underhanded ways she thought to address the issue. It is the fact she will not apologize and have a conversation with me but is only worried about the rest of her wedding items being paid for and pinning it until after her honeymoon. I did not raise her to be like that. I would have loved to help her make designs for the dress she picked out if she had asked, and she knows this. I have never denied her help in her life, nor has our help come with conditions. Today we'll take my wife's dress to the seamstress that has the Frankenrest to see what can be repaired. My wife has said the sash and train are most likely lost as the fabric of the gown was cut and the seams undone properly. Paraphrasing here, not up on sewing lingo. Unfortunately, even if it can be restored or parts of it, Olivia is currently not wanting to give up the dress after the wedding. She wants to keep hers and is imploring her mother to understand since she kept her wedding dress for so long. We don't want to lose our relationship with our daughter, but we both agree there need to be consequences and there isn't really any moving forward if Olivia isn't willing to budge on anything. Now for a few comments before the next update. Not the idiot. That was hugely disrespectful to your wife. The dress didn't even belong to your daughter. If they can't afford the big wedding without your help, then they can downsize the wedding. Comment 2. Not the idiot. She tried the old ask forgiveness, not permission, for a reason. This is clear by her being really nervous to show you the dress. I'd imagine she also showed you first so you could try to soften the blow to your wife. This was premeditated, which makes her an AH. Due to her not respecting you or your wife with her choice, I don't think you're in the wrong for pulling your support from the wedding. Tell her she already has your entire contribution in fabric. Now for the update. After posting, my wife went to the seamstress shop and had the pieces of her dress removed since Olivia refused to have them taken off and returned after the wedding. This caused an upset with our daughter when she found out. Our future son-in-law came to talk to us afterward to get our side of the story. Regrettably, Olivia was not honest with him about the situation and had told him my wife was upset that Olivia took too many parts off the dress. He was not aware she lied to get the dress in the first place and was avoiding her mother. As it turned out, he got involved after 2 of her bridesmaids dropped out at the same time, and he was getting conflicting stories from her and them. Olivia had used their phones to cancel plans with their respective boyfriends so they could be free for last-minute plans Olivia made for her bridesmaids. According to Olivia's friends, her personality has changed over the last few years when she got a promotion at work and had an assistant and a team working under her. Week and a half before the wedding, the son-in-law asked if they could come over. He got Olivia to talk to her mother, and she apologized. She explained why she did what she did. She wanted similar pieces on her dress, but the cost was going to be too much. It was cheaper to add parts. Olivia has said she feels a need to keep up with some of the other women she works with and has a hard time shutting that personality off. She has started therapy and will be changing jobs to a different company. We did not pay more towards the wedding. They agreed to have the catering they could afford on their own and families potlucking the rest. They also came up with a solution for music and decorations. This way my wife can get what she needs to repair her dress the best she can. The parts that are not able to be put back on her dress, my wife is using them to make photo album covers for each of our kids. As for Olivia's dress, my wife spent the time leading up to the wedding making new pieces and attached them to Olivia's dress herself. It'll be a while before we trust our daughter again like we used to, but we are on the road to recovery. The wedding was a lot of fun and Olivia and our newest family member seemed to really enjoy themselves. Thanks again everyone for the support. Comment 1. I'm surprised my son-in-law went ahead with the wedding after being deceived like that, but good luck to you all. Then the original poster responded with, confronting the people she wronged, therapy, and job change were conditions of their relationship continuing. My first thought when he called to come over was they were going to say it had been postponed or cancelled. Comment 2. Honestly, I think if I were in your wife's shoes, I would have been even more angry that Olivia could have simply replicated the pieces she wanted but chose to take mine instead because it was cheaper. I probably would have been sympathetic if asked for additional financial help because she wanted a dress with details like mine, and it would be more expensive than she could afford to get it made from scratch. But that she destroyed my dress because it was less expensive than doing her own would have been hard for me to get over. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. See you next time.